in the code as well. So we did receive the 3, and also for EV charger for installing at the town hall, replacing the unit that's there. And also for a partial quote for installing 2 dual chargers across the parking lot. And there's also some additional interest from other people to put in heat pumps, other quotes. So proceeding with that. I did a quick agenda, and my next thing was to we're going to probably put in an RFP. It's my recommendation to do an RFP. I think we have to anyway because it's over $35,000 for the heat pumps for the building. So to put an RFP for them. So our next step would be to submit metrics into NYSERDA, into their workbook, so that we can lock in the funds, because we have to have something in by the end of the month. Is why we called the special meeting today. And by recommendation, Chris is here and he can fill us in a little bit more on that, but also to basically block out close to the amount of the $60,000 with the higher quote for the heat pumps, and then allowing the additional whatever's left over to go towards the EV chargers. And that way, it's easier to do it that way than to actually put it in at a lower and then come back and say, well, it's actually going to be more. So we don't know what the actual code's going to be when we get down to, especially we put an RFP out at this point. So Chris, do you just want to add a little bit to that as far as the metrics book and how that?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Clean Energy Communities grant program is a nice sort of program that I work on in Tompkins County. The way that the grant award works and the grant process works, it is probably advantageous to assume that a given project will take the full amount of the grant, because in the event that the work is completed for less, the town can add additional components, right? Like, so if the heat pump doesn't end up costing the full grant award on the table is $60,000. I came before you last fall, talk about this a little bit. And if that full grant amount is not used on the designated project, then we can go back to NYSERDA and say, well, we'd really like to add this other aspect, right? And so I know that there's been discussions about the EV chargers in the parking lot, potentially replacing or adding capacity. That's a pre-approved project under the program, the NYSERDA program. And again, because the installation cost of the heat pump can be a little bit variable, and because the town will need to go out for an RFP, you're in a good position if you want to pursue this project, putting in at the price that's going to sort of zero out the grant amount. Because then if we come in under budget, that's when we can go back and say, hey, look, we'd like to do this other thing. Versus at this stage in the grant application, if the town applies for a whole bunch of projects, assuming sort of a lower cost per project. So if you go with the heat pumps and the EV chargers at this stage, you may then be required to put them all in. So it's easier to add later than it is to take off later if we needed to.
Thank you. So with that, I think our next steps will be to put together an RFP and to get our workbook metrics in so that to cover the basis that we do get the full amount for the grant that's available. We could also look at other quotes for EV chargers. And one thing that I also wanted to add in there was if we needed additional electric service related to the heat pumps or the EV chargers, that can be included as part of the our grant as well. And let's see. Yeah, so that would be the next steps that I see. And I just want to open up to the board if they have questions on since the last week, anything that's come up or thoughts on process or Leslie?
I was wondering we have one quote that approaches the 60,000. So that's what you would use it for the basis for the what do they call it, the workbook
Yes.
entry.
And then that wouldn't lock us into using that particular contractor. It would just lock in that the cost could be
That much, yeah.
that much and fill it in, yep.
So what do we actually have to vote to approve tonight?
It would be helpful if the town could support a letter of commitment, which is part of the grant process, and it lays out that the town is committed to using the funds for a given project. We did one previously, and I actually unfortunately did not get confirmation if NYSERDA is going to need an update. But if that approval can be sort of preemptively given, given the parameters of the heat pump project and potential EV that we're looking at, then that would be that would enable then the grant application in case we needed it.
I'll move that, but can you state it more clearly so we can put it in a motion?
Yes, a letter of commitment to be signed by the town supervisor, committing the town to using NYSERDA grant funds for the heat pump project.
Great, I move that.
Does it have, when you characterize it as a heat pump project, does that admit of the possibility of being more than the heat pump?
He said that, he explained at the beginning. He
We
said
can-
that if the
but-
amount is less, then we can use it for something
Mhm.
else. But if we don't, if we have them both in there at the first time, you can't take something back out if it costs more money. So the best, most efficient way to do this is to take the minimal and then add later if there's more money after.
I understand all that. It was just a question of whether or not
Well,
the
you
letter
needed
of
it in the
commitment,
motion.
No, No.
whether it needed to indicate that it could be more than the heat pumps in that letter of commitment.
So-
no.
The letter of commitment can include language to that effect, if that would be helpful. At the point at which the town, like if the town comes in under budget on the project and has money left over, the grant funds will already have been awarded and will enter sort of a modification with NYSERDA. So yeah, that language can be included now. And it also is one of those things that one of those bridges that we do cross when we get to it. Because that's like from NYSERDA's perspective, at the point at which it's like, oh, we got money left over, they have to do a whole modification, which is all on them to go figure out. So yeah, it could go either way.
I mean, so if the motion read simply we're committed to using the Clean Energy Communities grant funds, was that?
We do need to specify at least one project. And so the heat pump quotes being what they are and the likely cost of install being what it is, it's been my experience that would be the advantageous one to commit to.
Yeah, so going to say for the heat pump installation and potentially other things if money allows or something like that.
Yeah.
I would put something else in. I always think it's better to cover the basis if possible.
So we can add that it's the letter of commitment for the this stuff
The
plus the heat
install.
pump if there's
In the
there's
charge,
funds available.
right, but the charges if there's.
Chargers,
Okay.
heat pump first, chargers if there's money available.
I second that motion. We should have the discussion after we second it, but you know, the motion was being modified, so
Right.
it go that way. Okay, so I take it, we don't have to have specified which contractor gets at this point. Want me to say we have a bid in mind that is, and it's going to be for heat pumps, and we're definitely going that way.
Yeah. For NYSERDA's perspective, the quote, turning in the quote now is more or less proof of concept, and they understand that then you've got to go out to like proper bid and the project. So the Right. The quote is establishing proof of concept.
What we want to do is within the realm.
Yeah. That you're not just like pulling a number for, it's like, oh, this heat pump's going to cost $1 million, you know, XYZ. Not that anybody does that, but that's right. That's the stage we're at.
Well, I mean, it also means that we looked at it enough to know that we couldn't do geothermal because it would be way too much.
True.
And we had to keep things in line with what the energy audit said. We had to basically the heat pump main focus. The energy audit specified.
Yeah. I'm seeing nods. I was actually Tyler joined us. Not sure how much of that you caught, Tyler, but Leslie or Tyler, any comments? Okay, ready?
Yep.
All right, vote.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon,
Yes.
thank you.
Sorry, I know I can't vote while I'm on the Zoom, and sorry, it's my first time using Zoom on my phone, so
Looks
just
pretty
getting
good.
used to it.
You're doing great.
Works fine. Yes.
So Chris, does a letter of commitment have to be attached to the metrics workbook that gets sent in?
Yeah. I can throw up some like the draft language, you know, share screen if that would be helpful now. But I can get that to Joel or to review and sign pretty quickly. And then yes, that'll go in with the metrics workbook. So roughly by the end of this week.
Do we need to send any of the actual quotes in with it?
Yes, yeah, we'll need to turn in at least one quote. Again, it's sort of at the proof of stage.
So if you'll give us the requisite parts, it'll make it really easy.
Yeah, and with I can get the quote and turn that into the metrics workbook, which is just a spreadsheet that'll show the estimated fuel and emissions savings from a given project. So I can get around.
Do you need a copy of the resolution that?
No, just the letter itself, which I can pass along whenever is appropriate.
Great. The other piece to put together an RFP to go out. And
Yeah.
Joel, is that you or Mariah or me or the three of us coming up with something or?
Yeah, I think it's Jim with us kibitzing mostly.
And, Mariah, is there some sort of a template I can use to write something?
I can find something.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you send it to me, I'll-
If not, I mean, Greg does.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yep.
Very good. Okay.
So, since Dan is here, did you have questions for him or?
Not now.
Well,
So, yeah, Dan's from Simply Installs and he provided a couple of quotes and the Electric is the other company that provided the quotes. Appreciate you stopping in, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank you for the invite.
I did not see, I saw a revised quote that had a larger number for credits, which reduced the total. But I didn't see where there was a difference in the equipment that was specified in that second quote.
I sent out, Mariah put one up on the town website. I got out of a meeting and I looked, I saw that it was just the E-Core was in there, not the Mitsubishi. So Mariah put it up on the town website as well. So there is a newly revised additional quote on there for the Mitsubishi.
We have three altogether.
With the Mitsubishi.
So there'll be two from Simply Installs for heat pumps.
Yeah,
Well, if it's online, we can get it and download it, it's fine.
yeah. So it's just.
It's in the meeting folder.
Yeah. All three of them? Like,
Yeah.
okay, great.
The first two have been there. I downloaded them a while ago.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I put the one up
It's revised, yeah. There's,
revised, but the other one had been there for some time.
And Chris, the workbook, I can take a look at that tomorrow, and maybe schedule an appointment to get together with you to fill that out.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan, as they say. Is there anything else we need to consider? If not, then I guess we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
thank you.
Good night.
Okay.
Right.